I'd like to wish everyone a warm welcome to the School Outreach webinar this evening, and it's the third and final part of our series for this year, sponsored by Virgin Media O2. And we've got some great content for you this evening. As always, we do have quite a lot to get through, but if you do have any questions, please plop them in the chat facility or the Q&A facility. And if we don't get to answer any questions at the end, we'll be sure to respond to all of you individually and forward any on to our guest speakers today. So my name is Maria Mason, and I'm the account manager here at the School Outreach Company. And I'm just delighted to be here to share with you some information and some insights on what apprenticeships are available. I'm delighted to welcome Pete, who is the partnership manager from UCAS, and he's going to share some slides, understanding apprenticeships and the part that UCAS can play in helping you find apprenticeships, and also Courtney Beckett, who is going to share with you not only information from Leslie and their current apprenticeships, but also some available vacancies that you could potentially apply for. Just before I move on, I just want to highlight there we've got our LinkedIn and our Twitter feed, so please follow us for any further information and content from the School Outreach Company, and also our next series of webinars that will be available in the next academic year. So who are the School Outreach Company? So we are the largest school outreach provider in the UK, and we work as act as a link between hiring organisations, schools and colleges, and also their communities. And there's lots of reasons why we find this work so important, and I'll share some of those thoughts and insights with you afterwards. So what's really, really important to share is that we're currently speaking to over 95% of the secondary schools and colleges throughout the UK, and there's a huge community of those. And we're committed to raising the levels of gender equality, ethnic diversity and social mobility for all of our employers. And as you can see, I've highlighted there some of the logos of some outstanding organisations that we're working with across the UK. So why is this topic so relevant? Increasingly, we are seeing more and more options available for students and school leavers. And this information seems to be really, really hard for young people to navigate and to understand. There's information from many different sources in the UK, and there are many different organisations that you need to go to understand what apprenticeships are available to you. We're working really, really hard to ensure that we get the right information to the right people, so to teachers, to careers leads within schools, to brilliant influencers of our young people, including parents, just so we can help those young people make the right decisions and they're informed to make their own decisions about their future careers. Apprenticeships and the careers that they can lead to have developed hugely over the last 10 years, as it says here. The perceptions have changed so much with regards to apprenticeships, and they've evolved so much. There's some amazing further education, degree apprenticeships, master's apprenticeships available across the whole of the UK, and we want to make sure that that information reaches the right people. Also, the organisations that I work with, some of those logos that you saw previously, are making amazing investments in ensuring that this information reaches the right people. And that's because they're increasing their numbers. There's a huge amount of uptake for apprenticeships, and so they're increasing their numbers year on year. So they want to make sure they get the right candidates and quality candidates for their roles. Due to the current situation with regards to the economy, political reasons and social changes, apprenticeships are becoming a more popular alternative for further education. And Pete will talk with regards to what that looks like from a UCAS perspective, but they are a popular alternative to university. And I think the important thing is that our young people stay in further education and obtain those really valuable degrees. So, as I said before, there's been a 64% growth on apprenticeships since 2014. And what we have seen, that over 50% of university applicants are also registering for an interest in apprenticeships or for applying for roles. And when we're out and about in schools, which we spend a huge amount of time doing, we do recommend to all students and pupils that they do apply for both, apply for any university placements or any further degree apprenticeships that they would like to consider. And I think that's really important to do that and to be able to give yourself options. Now, from September this year, you can actually become a GP through an apprenticeship programme, which is amazing to think of. Such fabulous roles are becoming more and more available. There are many different roles in law, architecture, medicine that are now becoming more and more available. And also, this is a statistic that some people might find a little bit worrying. There is an estimated amount of young people that are going to be looking to apply to universities, and they predict that to be about 1 million. And in the UK at the moment, we have only 650,000 spaces for students. So there is a gap. So that's why we find and we feel that it's really valuable to make sure you apply for both. And then finally, after you've obtained your degree, and should you be looking to apply for any graduate programmes, there's some amazing graduate programmes as well across the UK. The average application per grad is about 50 to 1, and this is significantly lower for apprenticeships. So it's becoming increasingly more attractive for young people. You could potentially have more of an opportunity to get an apprenticeship programme. Not all apprenticeships guarantee employment afterwards, but majority of them do. So they're really great career paths to follow. So I'd now like to hand over to Pete, who's going to share with us lots of information with regards to UCAS and discovering apprenticeships.
Thank you very much. Yes, hi there. My name is Pete Milsom. I'm from UCAS, and I'd just like to say a couple of words about UCAS, because you might be wondering what on earth UCAS is doing here talking about apprenticeships, because we're the people that get you into university. And of course, yes, that remains part of our core service, university admissions. But we know, because we ask our audience quite regularly about apprenticeships, that there's a big demand for more information about apprenticeships. The undergraduate route going to university, that has been very well supported over the years. And once you get to university, before that, you get support with your personal statement, with your application on finance, on accommodation. So by the time you arrive at university, you've had a pretty good journey and you know what you're going to get. We want to do the same with apprenticeships. We want to make sure that that journey is equally accessible for people, is equally well informed and well supported, so that people are able to discover apprenticeships just as they are undergraduate university degrees. So if we just go on. I'm going to talk a little bit about some apprenticeship myths, so I think we will start there. So if we can just move on there, please, because there are some significant misconceptions and stigmas around apprenticeships. So myth 1, apprenticeships aren't as good as degrees. I would like to say at this point that I'm not looking to put apprenticeships over degrees or degrees over apprenticeships. I just want to make the point that they are equally worthy, they are of equal quality, and they are an equally credible, valid career option as degrees. There are lots of routes to get into a chosen career, and that does include apprenticeships, and indeed degree apprenticeships as well. And when it comes to organisations that are offering apprenticeships and running apprenticeships programs and degree apprenticeship programs, when you look at companies like Nestle, like Goldman Sachs, like KPMG, all offering degree apprenticeship programs, we can see a point in time, I think, where a position on a degree apprenticeship program with one of these organisations is going to become just as prestigious as going to just as prestigious and probably competitive and in demand as it is to go to Oxford or Cambridge, for example. These are really valuable opportunities. It's not just big companies, small companies offering them as well. There's something for everybody. So apprenticeships, although they're different to undergraduate degrees, they're delivered in a different way. They are by no means inferior or less than an undergraduate degree. They're a credible career option. Myth 2, apprenticeships are for people that don't do well at school. I like to think there's an apprenticeship for everyone. I think last time I looked, there was about 660 apprenticeship standards, from levels 2 right up to level 7. And level 2 or 3 as an entry point is a great start to a career. Some apprenticeship opportunities, then they will ask for perhaps a certain level of GCSEs, but you can learn maths and English whilst you're doing an apprenticeship as well. And it's important to remember that an apprenticeship is a real job. So it's a real job, it's a real position. You get paid, you get holiday, you get a contract of employment. So I really think there's an apprenticeship for everyone. It's really important, though, that you find the best apprenticeship for you. And as I said, with about 650 options out there, there is one for you. Myth 3, apprenticeships are only available in vocational industries. Well, I think I've just touched on that, but there is a misconception about apprenticeships that they are just for people that wear high visors and hard hats. And indeed, there are apprenticeships for the construction trade, for example. And of course, and they're great apprenticeships, but it's so much more than that. There is so much more to apprenticeships. There's apprenticeships in digital marketing, programming, coding. There's apprenticeships in engineering. There's apprenticeships. I think in physics as well. You can become a solicitor. There's loads of options out there. So they're not just for those sort of traditional vocational industries. They've expanded very much since a few years ago. And again, it's about finding the right one for you. Myth 4, apprentices don't do real jobs. Well, as I've said, an apprenticeship is a real job. You get paid a wage, you get holiday pay, and when you enroll in an apprenticeship, then you not only get the knowledge, skills and behaviours of an academic programme, but you also get to learn on the job as well. So whilst you're learning the theory behind your job, you're also putting it onto practice from day one. You're an employee of the company, and just on that as well, you apply for an apprenticeship just like you do any other job. So there's an application process, and this might differ across employers, and that's some of the work that UCAS is trying to help with, trying to almost demystify that journey for people so that they can find their apprenticeship opportunity. And myth 5, apprenticeships are badly paid. Okay, so apprentices are entitled to that minimum wage of £4.81 an hour. And when you're at the beginning of your career, perhaps you can't quite expect a six-figure salary straight from day one. But the average salary of a degree apprenticeship is 22,500, and that's as a starting point. And many companies will pay more. Companies want to retain their apprentices. They recruit apprentices because they want to train them. They want to have an input into their development. And once they have invested in that development, they will want to keep apprentices. So there are very beneficial and competitive paying conditions for apprentices. It's not just a low paid opportunity. Apprenticeships are only for school leavers, so perhaps this might appeal to some of the older people on the call, but apprenticeships aren't just for school leavers as well. Many people use apprenticeships to develop new skills, perhaps in the middle of their career within an existing job. There are some entry criteria. So at that younger end, then you'll have to be 16 to apply for an apprenticeship. But that's not it. And it's not as if once you're past 18, you can't enrol on an apprenticeship. You can enrol on an apprenticeship at any age, up, right up to the top end there. So for anybody on the call who is in that sort of upper age bracket, if I can put it like that, then they're certainly worth a look for you as well. An apprenticeship won't lead to a career. Well, there are plenty of examples of that, and if you go to ucas.com, you will find lots and lots of information on the careers that an apprenticeship can lead into. And you have to remember that employers are recruiting apprentices, and they're saying, we want to invest in you, we want to train you for a career in this industry. So if you're recruited into a firm of solicitors, for example, they will train you with that apprenticeship program to be a solicitor, and the career options that lead on for that, I don't think I need to overdo it, but they're really beneficial and valuable career paths within apprenticeships. So what are apprenticeships? Essentially, apprenticeships are a program of study whilst you have a job, whilst you're earning a wage. So you will enroll in an apprenticeship, and you will begin your position. You'll start earning a wage from it. There's a training provider that will provide the teaching and learning, and in some cases, university training provider for degree apprenticeships. And they will give you the knowledge, skills and behaviours. And that's about 20% of your time on an apprenticeship is learning from the training provider. 80% of it is spent on work, learning real practical skills. So there are three people involved in an apprenticeship. It's the employer, the apprentice and the training provider. It's a contract between all three people for that apprenticeship, so that you're learning those knowledge, skills and behaviours that are going to lead to you being successful in an apprenticeship and hopefully successful in the preceding career path after that. Okay, so just a word on how apprenticeship levels work, and you can see that they're different in Wales and in Northern Ireland and in Scotland as they are in England. But um, from the English point of view, then a level 2 apprenticeship is an intermediate apprenticeship. That's what we would consider perhaps your entry level apprenticeship. A little bit further on, an advanced apprenticeship. And then levels 4 to 7 are considered higher apprenticeships as well. So you can see a way that from an entry level apprenticeship, that doesn't mean that once you've done one, then that's it. You can plot out a career path, a development path through the levels of apprenticeship. And there will be plenty of examples of people that have perhaps started on a level 2 customer service apprenticeship, and then they've gone on to do a level 3 business administration apprenticeship. Perhaps then they've gone to level 4 and done the higher business administration, a level 5 management. So you have got a career path throughout those apprenticeships, and you can keep on using the system. It really is the gift that gives on giving. As you can see there, it's slightly different in Wales and Northern Ireland. And it's different in Scotland as well. They're called slightly different things. If you head to ucas.com, then you'll find lots of guidance about the levels in the devolved nations as well. For example, you can see there that in Scotland, then it's foundation apprenticeships, modern apprenticeships, and graduate apprenticeships. They all work in a very similar way. So wherever you live in the United Kingdom, you'll be able to access the apprenticeship system and reap the benefits of it. So who can start an apprenticeship? So this is just some eligibility criteria, really. Anyone 16 and over can start an apprenticeship. As I mentioned before, there isn't really an upper end. If you're 16 and over, you can start an apprenticeship. As long as you're not in full-time education, and you do have to live in the country, in the nation that that your apprenticeship is in. There's slightly different requirements in Northern Ireland as well. You have to be employed or be able to take up employment in Northern Ireland, and be working a minimum of 21 hours per week on a permanent contract. So again, it differs throughout the nations, but essentially it's a great option for somebody that's leaving school, and as long as you're eligible, then you'll be able to harness the benefits of apprenticeships. And I think that I will just do one more word on who can apply. Oh, sorry, when you can apply. So unlike undergraduate degrees, there's not an admissions cycle. There's not particularly a deadline. So employers will want to advertise apprenticeship opportunities according to their recruitment needs. So there's not one deadline that you have to hit to apply for an apprenticeship. That said, there is an undergraduate admissions deadline. So there's nothing stopping people from applying for apprenticeship opportunities and undergraduate opportunities at the same time. You can kind of hedge your bets, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. They are advertised throughout the year, as I said, according to the employer's needs. So they will want to recruit at all times of year, and you can apply at all times of year as well. And depending on the organisation's size, then application methods will be different. And you can see there, just on this final slide here, here are some ways that you can access UCAS information, advice and guidance, look at apprenticeship opportunities. I'd encourage you to head to UCAS, set up a hub account, and you can go from there and find out all about your options, undergraduate opportunities, or indeed apprenticeship opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. And I'd like to hand over to Courtney.
My name's Courtney Beckett. I work for Nestle. I'm based at York. I myself came through a level 3 scheme, working on the factory floor, and now I'm currently manufacturing excellence specialist for site and doing my level 5 alongside it. Just a brief overview of a little bit about us. So we're a fast moving consumer goods company. So, you know, it's competitive, it's fast paced, especially in a factory environment, even in supply chain. And it makes it the perfect industry for someone looking to make a difference and find creative solutions to real life problems and issues that we face in the modern world. Our locations, so on that little map, as you can see there, the greens are our head offices. So we have York and Gatwick, but we do have factories dotted all over the UK, 447 factories globally, 802 Nespresso boutiques, and more than 2 billion Nestle products are sold every year in the UK alone. We are the biggest food and drink manufacturer in the world. And just to quickly give you a brief overview that we're not just chocolate, we do have loads and loads of different brands that you probably recognise and that you can see on our little map on there as well. And then what do we do? So in terms of different sectors, so we've got marketing, supply chain, manufacturing, which is my area, which I'll talk a little bit about bit more in a minute, marketing and sales, and we also have supply chain, finance, HR, communications and legal. Types of apprenticeships. So I know that we've previously just touched on this a little bit, but the ones that we offer at Nestlé, so we have level 3, and our requirements for those are on the screen there, level 4 and 5, and level 6 and level 7 as well. So there's a full range. There really is something for everybody, just to echo that comment from earlier. So I'll talk about Nestlé's application and assessment process. So it's all online. And the first thing that you would come up against is the eligibility questionnaire. So once the eligibility questions have been answered, and if you meet the criteria, it'll progress on next to the application form. It's a shorter form where you can tell us a bit about yourself, state your contact details, your qualifications, that sort of thing will be covered under that section there. And then following the submission of your application form, we'll also ask maybe a few like demographic questions and things like that before starting an online assessment. So your responses to the questions will let us know about any other special requirements you might have too. And then following the application, we go to the Nestlé online tests. So it's user-friendly, digital platform. The assessment is designed to give an immersive experience into what it's like to work for Nestlé and to monitor your behaviour in a range of situations. So the responses will help us determine whether you would be someone who would enjoy working for us and your overall strengths and attitudes that you'd need to succeed. Following that, we'd go into a job simulation. So it's another digital assessment. It gives you even more insight into the role that you're applying for. And it simulates some real life scenarios. Final stage would be the assessment centre. Now, this is the section where you'd come see us in person, and we would do a little interview and we'd do a challenge as well. It sounds really, really lengthy, but please don't let that put you off. It's really competitive to spring into, but all these things are there for a reason. It seems like a lot, but please don't let it put you off, because the ACs can be quite fun. The assessment centres can be quite fun. How will you study and what support do we offer as a business? So the training provider provides your off-the-job training. They also have a key role in assessing your progress. And basically what happens with us is sometimes those sessions with your university or college are online. My group, for example, where I am, go away for block weeks. Engineers go away for 3 months at a time. So for those who still want to feel like they're getting away from home experience as well, if a degree is maybe not for you, the traditional route, we can still offer a away from home feeling. So you still get that little bit of independence and that type of thing too, if that's what you was wanting. As a business the size that we are, we pay for all the expenses. So petrol and travel, if that's train, whatever that looks like, we expense it, all your accommodation, all food and things like that whilst you're away and studying. So you don't have any of that to worry about. And of course, any fees for the courses are covered by the levy and by the company as well. So that is another thing that can be free space in your mind to not worry about when studying with us and the learning provider as well. Manufacturing. So this is my area of expertise, and our manufacturing schemes are factory based, and we like to call our scheme technical operator route. So I look after that scheme within York factory. It involves a lot of hands-on work with plant and equipment. I support to make sure our gang get the most out of the scheme and get into areas that support your coursework and vice versa. So if there's anything that's lacking, I can help get that little bit of experience and push for you to have a look at this and have a look at that as well. So we focus a lot around health and safety, high levels of quality of all of our products. manufacturing some of the world's most famous chocolate bars, so it smells great as well, so that's always a bonus. My apprentices at the moment are responsible for making sure our chocolate is tempered to the correct standard, changing over and leading on large-scale plant shutdowns, startups, hygiene cleans. Some of my apprentices are managing gas rigs already. They've been here 8 months, so they really do get that responsibility from day one and really get pulled into the teams. They're in really key players in continuous improvement. So like people who come in new from outside have fresh eyes, fresh ideas, and that's what we need. We want to keep those people coming through. There's definitely like seats at the table for you if that's what you're interested in. Focusing on improving loss, all kinds of projects. So it's really exciting. Yes, really fast paced, but there's always something cool and something interesting going on that you can be involved with. And the sky really is the limit, is my personal thing that I like to say quite a lot. If you want to take it further, you can really go as far as you want. You will get out of it what you put into it, and I'm an absolute firm believer on that. And we really do want to put the effort in with you to give you everything that you need to succeed. Next slide, please. So really, is an apprenticeship right for you? So if your preferred learning style is based on observations and getting in there and doing it, putting your skills into practice, fantastic. Again, some of the points again that was recently spoke about, if you're 16 plus, have an interest that you wish to develop, you don't need any prior experience to begin your apprenticeship. So they're designed to hone in on your potential. You'll collaborate and build a strong network across the business. And you'll gain a nationally recognised qualification that's paid for, so you're free of debt, and it, like I said before, it completely includes all of your expenses for study too. It is a challenge, but anything that's worth it always is. So key point is manage your time, be proactive, show resilience, and always ask for help. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. That's what we want to do. The benefits: make impact, not tea. So build a sustainable career. There really is like longevity in this, and if you want to have a crack at the whip, please go for it. That's all I want to say. You get to study with others. We have cohorts from around the country who all go and study together. So my guys from York will go with the guys at Halifax, and the guys in Wales and everywhere else where we've got factories, and they all come together to study if they're on the same course. I'm not going to read through all these because we will be here all day. However, if you want to go back through the recording later and have a little look, these are just some quotes from my gang and what they've thought of their scheme so far. I just thought that might be a little bit helpful if you fancied having a read of that later on. And top tips: be inquisitive. We're here to be asked questions. There's plenty of experts around our sites, things like that. No one will ever turn you away if you're not sure of something. Be yourself. That's one of the most key important things for me, is just come up and be yourself. That's all we want you to be. You don't need you to be anybody else. Proactive, resilient, conversation, not interrogation. And we all have different strengths, and that's really important to remember, that we're all different and we all bring something different to the table. I think that's everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pete, and thank you, Courtney. That's fantastic. And also just to really share with you that Nestle do have some current vacancies. So when we send out the recording, we'll make sure we send out the QR codes, and we'll also send those links as well from UCAS to make sure that you can find all the information that you need that Pete referred to. But thank you very much for joining us on our final of our webinar series sponsored by Virgin Media O2, and have a good evening in the sunshine.